Our main character, Miyo Samori, thinks back to her difficult upbringing and how a man named Kyoka Kudo changed her perspective on life. Let's go back in time to when a lady named Kaya asked Miyo to make her some green tea. Kaya, along with another lady named Kanoko, talked unkindly about Miyo in front of her father, Shinichi. Meanwhile, a man named Mr. Tatsuishi arrived to have a chat with Shinichi. Miyo overheard some girls gossiping about his visit, thinking it might be about a marriage proposal. They believed it was for Kaya, even though both Kaya and Miyo were the right age to get married. Mr. Tatsuishi's son Koji found Miyo, and they sat down to talk. Koji gave Miyo some candy and expressed a desire to help her escape her tough life. In addition to this, Kaya asked Shinichi to buy her a new kimono for girls' school. Shinichi promised to get her multiple kimonos and asked Miyo to be there this week. Miyo, feeling like she was treated as a servant by her father, fell asleep. Miyo was also teased by Kaya for her appearance while she was sweeping. Later, she saw Koji outside, and he mentioned he had important matters to discuss with her father. He didn't explain why he seemed so serious, but gave Miyo more sweets to eat and share with the other workers. A lady told Miyo to go to the parlor where she found Koji, Kaya, Shinichi, and Kanoko. Shinichi explained that Koji would marry into the Samori family and take over. Unfortunately, it was Kaya he would be marrying, not Miyo. This news upset Miyo, and Shinichi told her she would marry Kyoka Kudo and live somewhere else. Miyo was instructed to gather her things because she would be going to Kudo's place the next day. As Koji left the room, he noticed Miyo standing alone in the rain. We then flash back to a conversation between Koji and his father. His father informed him that he would marry Kaya because he had requested Miyo to be his older brother Kazushi's wife. This meant Miyo had to leave their house. Although Koji wasn't thrilled about marrying Kaya, his father insisted he had to follow his wishes. Miyo went to her mother's cherry tree to find solace and say her goodbyes. Koji confronted her about the situation, but Miyo assured him that she didn't hold any grudges against him. Kaya interrupted their conversation. Miyo thanked Koji for his support over the years and went to pack her belongings. A woman entered Miyo's room and gave her a kimono. She explained that her father wanted her to wear it before leaving the next day. The woman warned Miyo that Kyoka was a cruel man and that all of his previous fiancés had run away from him. Miyo put on the kimono, looked at her home, and reflected on her mother's death, her difficult childhood, and everything that had led her to this point. Finally, Miyo arrived at Kyoka's home and met the family's servant, Yuri. When she saw Kyoka, she felt that her life might be taking a positive turn and was captivated by his handsome appearance. Kyoka explains his rules to Miyo. Later, Yuri shows Miyo her room and tells her that Kiyotaka is actually a kind person, despite the rumors. While Miyo sleeps, she wonders if Kiyotaka thinks she has special powers because she comes from the Samori family. We flash back to when Shinichi checked if Miyo or Kaya had special spirit sight. Kaya was scared of spirits coming from Shinichi's box, but he praised her for seeing them and thought she might get supernatural powers. 6 months later, Kaya's powers grew, but Miyo couldn't see spirits at all, according to Kanoko. Miyo talked to a female staff member about her family, feeling unwanted because they treated her badly. Miyo wakes up and decides to be helpful to Kiyotaka and Yuri. She starts preparing food, apologizing for not asking permission, but Yuri says it's okay. Yuri thanks her for helping and asks if she can make breakfast so Yuri can do other tasks. Miyo gladly agrees. When Kiyotaka wakes up, Yuri gives him the breakfast Miyo made. Kiyotaka tells Miyo to eat, but she doesn't react as expected, so he refuses to eat it. He asks her to do better next time and leaves. We switch to Kiyotaka welcoming new recruits to the special anti-grotesquerie unit. He says he'll help them develop their supernatural powers like moving things with their minds, controlling fire, and seeing things far away. His comrade explains that grotesqueries are dangerous spirits in their world, and the recruits need these powers to stop them. Kiyotaka hears some recruits complaining and shows his powers to motivate them. He says grotesqueries may have lessened, but they can return any time. In his office, Kiyotaka gets annoyed by his comrade, who notes about Kiyotaka's new fiancé. Kiyotaka tells him to leave. He remembers a talk he had with Yuri before coming to the special anti-grotesquerie headquarters. Yuri defended Miyo's cooking and Kiyotaka questioned her judgment but let it go to focus on his work. Meanwhile, Miyo wonders if she made the right choice and if she should leave Kiyotaka's place. Shinichi tells Koji that his room is ready and he should prepare to join the family. Koji runs into Kaya and her servants, offering to help move her things to Miyo's old room. In Miyo's old room, Koji admits he still cares for Miyo and wonders if there's anything he can do for her. Back in the present, Miyo welcomes Kiyotaka home and apologizes for her cooking. She tells him that Yuri made his meal this time and assures him there's no poison in her food. Kiyotaka explains he was just worried about eating food from a stranger, not suspecting Miyo of wrongdoing. They try Yuri's food and Kiyotaka complains that it's cold. Miyo keeps apologizing, but Kiyotaka tells her to stop and asks why she didn't make food for herself. She says she didn't feel like eating to avoid making Yuri look bad. Miyo offers to prepare Kiyotaka's bath, but he says not to bother and tells her to stop doing unnecessary things, making her feel useless. Later, Kiyotaka apologizes to Miyo for not eating her breakfast and says she's in charge of making breakfast tomorrow since Yuri won't be available. Miyo vows not to mess up again. We see a flashback of Miyo as a child talking to her friend Hana about her mother's missing kimono and heirlooms. When Miyo accuses Kanoko of stealing them, Kanoko punishes her and locks her away. Miyo wakes up from the dream and uses her mother's comb to brush her hair. She wonders what happened to Hana after she got fired. Yuri comes early and listens to Miyo's concerns. Miyo tells her about her situation with Kiyotaka and Yuri is relieved it worked out. They prepare breakfast together and Miyo wonders if Kiyotaka would ever eat something she made. Kiyotaka thinks about Miyo's life and why she dresses the way she does, coming from a prestigious family. He asks Yuri if he should ask her about her life. Kiyotaka plans to look into the Samori family and wants Yuri to keep an eye on Miyo. Yuri says Miyo won't like him if he doesn't express his feelings. Kiyotaka mentions his previous marriages were about money and status, so he doesn't mind if Miyo doesn't like him. Meanwhile, Koji's father scolds Shinichi for not keeping his promise regarding Miyo. It turns out that Miyo was supposed to go to the Tatsuishi family, not to Kudo's place. Kiyotaka asks Miyo to go on a trip with him in town over the weekend. At first, she's unsure about it, but Kiyotaka convinces her to take a break from her duties. When the weekend comes, Yuri helps Miyo get ready for her first date with Kiyotaka. They first go to Kiyotaka's workplace to park his car. We learn that Kiyotaka's colleague from episode 2 is named Goto. Kiyotaka sends Goto away because he's bothering him and Miyo. Then they go shopping in town. Kiyotaka reminds Miyo to act naturally and not feel like she's causing any trouble. Meanwhile, Mr. Tatsuishi talks to Shinji about giving Miyo to the Kudo family, as he had asked him to let her marry his eldest son. Shinji explains he received an offer from the Kudo family and didn't want to decline it. Mr. Tatsuishi argues that Miyo comes from the Yusuba family, like her mother, and might have children with supernatural powers even though she doesn't possess any herself. He believes her family's powers are extraordinary and letting the Kudo family become stronger would threaten their positions. Shinji predicts that when Kiyotaka realizes Miyo lacks powers, he might want to get rid of her. He suggests that Mr. Tatsuishi could bring Miyo into his family. Shinji admits that the Samori family has abandoned Miyo, and he doesn't care whether she lives or dies. Mr. Tatsuishi vows to bring Miyo into his family. Meanwhile, one of the Samori family's workers informs Kaya about Shinji's conversation with Mr. Tatsuishi regarding Miyo. Kaya is annoyed by this and agrees to go shopping with Koji, even though she knows Koji still has feelings for Miyo. Kiyotaka and Miyo visit Suzushimaya Kimono shop, where Kiyotaka mentions that his family has been their loyal customers. While he is talking to a worker about some fabric he ordered, she teases him for bringing a female with him since it's a rare occurrence. During this time, he remembers Yuri telling him how Miyo repairs her own clothes and can't shake the thought of Miyo wearing worn-out clothes despite coming from a prestigious family. Kiyotaka notices a beautiful fabric and decides to have a kimono made for Miyo. The worker asks him not to let Miyo go. Next, they visit a sweet shop and Kiyotaka asks Miyo to smile more. He reminds her that they are supposed to get married if things go well and encourages her to speak her mind. Miyo worries about what Kiyotaka will think when he finds out she doesn't have powers. She hopes the happiness she feels with Kiyotaka can last until the right time comes to tell him. When they return home, Kiyotaka leaves the gift he bought for Miyo from the Suzushimaya shop in front of her room while she's bathing. Miyo realizes it's a comb and rushes to ask Kiyotaka if he placed it there. In a flashback, Yuri explains that giving a woman a comb is a marriage proposal. However, Kiyotaka brushes it off, saying it doesn't mean anything and that he simply wanted to give Miyo a gift. Miyo thanks him for the present and promises to treasure it. Next, we see them at the special anti-grotesquerie unit HQ, where someone provides Kiyotaka with information about the Samori family. We learn that Shinichi's family arranged for him to marry Miyo's mother, Subi Samori. The person confirms that Miyo doesn't possess any supernatural abilities, unlike her stepsister Kaya. Moreover, they reveal that Suna comes from the rare Yusuba family, known for having the power to influence humans. The investigator doesn't understand why Kiyotaka isn't acting like himself when suddenly a group of Shikigami attacks him. Kiyotaka uses his powers to defeat them and wonders who sent them to spy on him. Miyo has a dream where she sees her mother Suma pleading with Shinichi not to abandon Miyo. However, Shinichi refuses and Suma apologizes to Miyo, assuring her that things will be different in the future. Miyo wakes up from the dream and decides to get something for Kiyotaka. She visits Yuri and tells her about her plan. Yuri offers to help Miyo find a suitable gift and suggests something practical that Kiyotaka can use every day. Yuri hands Miyo a guide to handicrafts, and Miyo is particularly interested in braided cords. She decides to make one for Kiyotaka. Miyo asks Kiyotaka for permission to leave the house for an errand, and he agrees but advises her not to follow any strangers. Before she leaves, Kiyotaka gives her an amulet for protection. While Miyo and Yuri are out shopping for a braid for Kiyotaka, they notice Kaya and Koji in the distance. Kiyotaka visits Shinichi and expresses his intention to make his engagement with Miyo official and strengthen the relationship between their families. He also confronts Shinichi about his mistreatment of Miyo. Kaya criticizes Miyo, assuming that Kiyotaka abandoned her because she's still wearing a ragged kimono. Kiyotaka tells Shinichi that he's willing to provide Miyo's dowry but insists that Shinichi must apologize to Miyo in person. Otherwise, Kiyotaka will cut ties with him. When Yuri returns to Miyo, Kaya introduces herself and Yuri corrects her by stating that Miyo will soon be addressed as Lady Miyo after marrying Kiyotaka. Kaya is surprised and admits she had heard a rumor that Miyo was going to be abandoned, which led her to believe it was true. Back at home, Yuri tells Kiyotaka that Miyo seemed terrified and drained after interacting with Kaya. She apologizes for leaving Miyo alone. Kiyotaka reassures Miyo that she can open up to him anytime she feels like it. He contemplates how to boost Miyo's confidence, and Yuri suggests showing her love by cherishing her in a meaningful way. Miyo finishes the gift for Kiyotaka, but isn't sure how to give it to him. Yuri informs her that she has a visitor, who turns out to be Hana. Hana shares that she's married and has a child, and she's always wanted Miyo to have a happy ending. Miyo expresses doubts about being worthy of becoming Kiyotaka's wife. Hana reveals that Kiyotaka sent her a letter that led her to visit Miyo. After reading the letter, Miyo wonders if Kiyotaka knows everything about her now and promises Hana that she'll find her courage. Miyo visits Kiyotaka and opens up to him about her lack of spirit sight and her upbringing as a servant for her family. She thanks him for everything he's done for her and presents him with the braided cord she made. Kiyotaka tells Miyo that he plans to make their engagement official and wants to be with her forever. He asks Miyo to help him put on the braid and promises to cherish this gift. Miyo thanks Hana for her visit and assistance before she leaves. She expresses her gratitude to Kiyotaka as we see the Shikigami from the previous chapter hovering above them. The scene shifts to Mr. Tatsuishi in his office, furious that Miyo is doing well with the Kudo family and contemplating how to prevent her from leaving his family's control. But the story is not finished yet. Comment down below you want a part 2. Thanks for watching.